learned something new today about something that's invisible, deep inside of you. That when you shed light on it, your life begins to move in the direction that you choose, the direction that you need, want, desire, and deserve. I'd like to ask you, have you ever had a season in your life where, well, on paper, things looked fine, but something still felt off, maybe just a little? You were busy, productive, even successful. Yet, deep down, there was this quiet sense that you weren't quite heading in the right direction. I've learned that feeling off and not quite yourself, it isn't random. It's often the signal that your internal compass needs recalibration. That's what we're going to be talking about today, the internal compass. So welcome back to the Rethink Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. David Zierk. This podcast is where we step back and we pause and we explore smarter, more connected ways to lead and live by thinking with connection in mind, which is exactly what is meant by the word rethink, relationship-enhanced thinking. Thinking with connection in mind. That's the overall theme of every single podcast. Rethinking your connections to yourself, the others, and the world around you. So on this episode of the Rethink Podcast, I want to talk about something we all rely on, whether we realize it or not, and I call it our internal compass. I'm going to put that up on my whiteboard, the word internal compass. When life feels confusing, reactive, or out of control, it's usually not because we lack information. It's because we've lost connection with the inner system that guides our decisions, our priorities, and even our relationships. The challenge isn't finding answers out there. It's learning how to realign with what's already within you, realigning with your internal compass. So let me break this down for you. Think of your internal compass like the everyday compass, having 4 points, north, east, south, and west. And that's what you'll see on the board, 4 compass points. But with the internal compass, there's a twist. Each compass point represents a different aspect of awareness and direction. Let me give you an idea of how this works. The first compass point is what I call true north. True north. This compass point reflects your core values. It's what matters most and who you are at your best. Your core values might be authenticity, compassion, adventure, integrity, fairness, honesty. On my website, you can download a visual model of the internal compass that I'm talking about today. It looks like this. You'll see it. And it'll provide a list of core values that you can choose from. And what's interesting is that much like how navigators rely on the North Star, your true north represents your unwavering principles that guide your decisions and actions. Again, it's what's most important to you. And it's who you are when at your best. When you're aligned with your true north, your choices feel grounded and authentic. Now, what's really interesting is when you're misaligned with your true north, life gets harder, and it gets harder than it needs to be. And this explains why we sometimes feel stuck. You might be moving forward, but you're not heading in the direction that optimizes your sense of self. So when your true north is misaligned, To recalibrate it, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself 2 questions. First, what's most important? And here's a clue. It's not deadlines, profits, or even what other people are thinking. What's most important is what's most important to you, and we get back to this values clarification. We revisit our values, and then we have to ask ourselves, am I honoring the values that are most important to me? Am I heading in my true north direction? Second, I want you to ask yourself, are you surrounded by people who reliably honor your values? Now, you can imagine kind of the conflict that occurs. You might be really honoring, or maybe what's really important to you is honesty. And it's not like you're honest to a fault, but you're just really direct with your honesty. But maybe someone in your life has a different relationship with honesty, and they're more misdirected. They're more, what's the word for it? Kind of adjacent to it. They get there, but it usually takes some time. You know they have something to say, but they don't quite know how to say it. You really haven't been taught the power of honesty. And you can see why your approach to honesty and their approach, maybe more of a sidelining version of honesty, can create a level of conflict. It sounds a little bit like when you say to a person, hey, you feel a little off, what's going on? And the other person says, I'm fine. Well, we know that they're fine. Their heart is beating, their lungs are respirating. That's good. They are fine to a certain point. But we know psychologically something's off. And they're not finding their truth, and they're certainly not sharing that with you. So you feel a misalignment. These people that you surround yourself with, it's really important. Because only these people know, without even saying anything, that you are feeling stuck. Maybe you're a little depressed. Maybe you're unmotivated. They detect that something is off. And these people are really important to have around. Because too many times either we reflexively go into kind of a high avoidance mode, or we put our distress and our displeasure in life into a blind spot. That's true north. Heading in the direction that matters most, doing what matters most, in the true north, your values. The second compass point, I'm going to go to the board, and it's called heading west. Heading west. Let's see what this means. Heading west represents your growth, your goals, and your forward movement. It's where ambition and exploration and accountability live. These are my objectives. This is what I want to accomplish. Good. So heading west signifies the spirit of exploration, your sense of adventure, and the pursuit of new horizons. And you can see why that could be really exciting to begin and continue to head west. It's enlarging your life. It's taking chances and risks that you oftentimes either ignore or minimize. Heading west embodies the spirit of curiosity and the willingness to embrace change. Heading west also encourages you to step outside of your comfort zone. Learn from diverse experiences, and those experiences that you can't even imagine. They might surprise you. And to grow personally and professionally. Heading west highlights adaptability, that's that flexibility that I talk about, and resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity. Bouncing back in the face of the unknown, uncertainty. And what's interesting about us uncertainty is the mind has a tendency to say to you, this is a good time to pause. We don't know what's going to happen next, so let's not step into it. Oftentimes the mind then kind of forecasts that something bad's going to happen in times of uncertainty. And this is why your ability to be adaptable and to step into a life situation without it being known when uncertainty is in front of you. To recalibrate the process of heading west, I want you to ask yourself, do I have people who respectfully hold me accountable for reaching my goals. We've talked in past episodes about the importance of accountability and accountability buddies. This is the idea of that life is hard, and it's hard for everyone, and it's supposed to be. But we often make life harder than it needs to be by doing it alone. Did you hear that? The easiest way to make life harder than it already is to do it alone. And when you surround yourself with people who are willing and able to hold you accountable to heading west, they know what's important to you, and they encourage you. They might incent you to do what you are longing to do. They might nudge you. It's the ability to have the other person to point in a direction that you begin moving so that you can then gain some momentum. That's the importance of heading west. The third internal compass point is what I call facing east. So I'm writing that on the board. Facing east. True north are our values. Heading west are our goals in life. That's really important to us. Moving in order to gain momentum. And facing east. Your intuition might already tell you what I'm referring to when I'm facing east, but facing east represents reflection, a state of renewal, and yes, even contemplation and enlightenment. It's about pausing, accepting what you can't control, and giving yourself space to think, not just react. In our time-compressed culture, in our fast-moving world, facing east, I don't even know if it shows up on people's thought process. But facing east with intentionality really does give you an added dimension to enlarging your sense of self. This direction of facing east encourages introspection, learning from past experiences, looking within, and setting intentions for the future. You can see why it's so important to spend some time facing east. It's about embracing opportunities for growth, fostering hope, and maintaining a forward-looking mindset. It's like putting together a plan and being planful about what you might do next, how you might do it. So let me give you a hint. To recalibrate your facing east compass point, ask yourself, do I give myself time and space for thoughtful reflection? Now, in today's counseling and psychology world, there's a concept that's wildly popular. It's called mindfulness. And I'd just like to twist that a little bit. I think mindlessness is what's really important. I think it's the ability to put into your mind things that aren't there yet, to give yourself space and opportunity to really reflect on the possibility of life, what it is that you really need, want, desire, and deserve, and push to the sidelines. So instead of being mindful about what's going on, which is helpful, being aware of your emotions, being aware of your thoughts, but being mindless is kind of like disengaging from that process and allowing a different dimension of truth to rise to the surface. That's facing east. So keep in mind, facing east involves the interplay between acceptance and inaction. Inaction, another word for inaction is restraint, holding back, pressing the gas. Instead of pressing the gas pedal, you pump the brakes. That's right. Acceptance of what's outside of your immediate control and intentionally foregoing action, and instead allowing yourself to be present, to see what shows up. The last compass point is what I call deep south. So I just wrote that on my board. We have true north heading west, facing east, and let's talk about the deep south. I refer to the deep south as emotional depth. and your capacity for empathy. It's your awareness of how your behavior impacts others and how you can be present in real time when it really matters. This direction encourages self-understanding, emotional intelligence, and your capacity for compassion. It represents the foundation upon which personal growth is built, emphasizing the importance of staying grounded while navigating life's challenges. That's the Deep South. To recalibrate your capacity to experience the Deep South, here's 2 questions. First one, what is my level of awareness of how my behavior impacts others in real time when it's really needed? 2, how consistently and authentically do I show empathy in real time when it's really needed? So you can see where timeliness is so important here. The first one is being aware of how your behavior impacts other people in real time when it's really needed. That's insight. And empathy, it's kind of like being aware of what's going on in other people's minds and life space in real time when it's really needed. So when these 4 compass points are aligned, life feels intentional. I use that word a lot, intentionality, the power of intentionality. And this visual model of the internal compass helps you not only to align what's going on in your life, but if it's misaligned, how to recalibrate it. Because when your compass points are not aligned, confusion takes over and you feel stuck. In the end, the internal compass helps you navigate life by, and let's go through it, by aligning with your true north, what's important, embracing the adventures of heading west, reflecting while facing east, and staying grounded in the Deep South. Together, these compass points foster a balanced and purpose-driven life. Let's put this into action. Give you an example that happens in the workplace. Someone might be charging hard toward their goals, heading west, while completely ignoring reflection or empathy. They're not facing east at all. The result? Burnout and fractured relationships, broken trust, stalled action, conflict, gridlock. In personal life, someone may, for instance, value family deeply. That's their true north. But fail to protect time for reflection or emotional connection. Again, they're not facing east. The compass spins and the resentment quietly builds. And that's what happens in both those scenarios, either at work or in your personal life situation. When the compass is out of alignment, the compass spins, you feel stalled, and resentments quietly build. Conflict accrues across time, and relationships become harder than they need to be. So calibration isn't about doing more. It's about noticing which direction you've been overusing and which one you've been neglecting. So here's our call to action. I want you to ask yourself one question this week. Which direction of your internal compass needs attention right now? Not fixing, not judging. There's nothing broken. I just want you to know that your compass deserves noticing and choosing one small adjustment that brings you back into alignment. Is it your values? True north? Your life goals, heading west? Is it your sense of patience, which is facing east? Or your willingness to be more insightful and empathetic, more present? That's your Deep South. So if you've ever wondered why motivation fades or why success doesn't always feel satisfying, This conversation about the internal compass, I hope it resonated with you. On this podcast, we explored the inner frameworks that help you lead yourself well so you can lead others with clarity and integrity. I want to remind you to go to my website at davidzierk.com and download the visual model that displays the internal compass. Then print it out and post it somewhere where you can review it every day. I'd also like you to join me for my next episode where we dig deeper into another topic that uncovers what makes you tick. Now, if you can't wait that long, if you want more information, you can always subscribe to my Refresh newsletter, again, by going to my website at davidzierk.com. Thanks for tuning into this podcast about the internal compass. This has been fun. Thanks for listening and learning.